big masked figure. They had horns. This is where my body gravitated.
Oh, this chick literally goes through the car as we drive through, like spiritually.
That man sitting on the bed the night before.
The blue light flashed in front of our eyes.
Take a walk with me to the dark side, where the spirits are archived on the far side. Shadows with dark eyes and creatures that tell lies.
And there was a rocking chair, and it would rock by itself.
It's got some funky shit going on in it.
Very scary. It felt like someone was watching us the entire time we were walking. I hear this low pitch. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Ghosts. I am your host, Sunray. So today I'm going to be talking about the Banshee. I have had personal experiences with the Banshee, so I'm very excited to share this folklore legend with you guys. And if you stick around to the very end, you'll get to hear my story. So I did a little Google search on banshees, and this is what Google comes up with. In Irish folklore, a banshee is a female spirit who warns of impending death by wailing, screaming, or keening. The name banshee is Old Irish for woman of the fairy mound or fairy woman. Here are some things you need to know about banshees. Her appearance. Banshees can appear in many forms, including an old woman with long white or gray hair, or a pale woman with long red hair. Her purpose. Banshees are believed to be messengers of death, but they don't actually cause death. Their wailing is a warning, a chance to say goodbye and to get affairs in order. Her family ties. Some say banshees are tied to a specific family, either because of revenge or love. In Ireland, banshees were believed to only warn families of pure Irish descent. I went and looked on Wikipedia, and this is what Wikipedia said. Sometimes she has long, streaming hair, which she may be seen combing, with some legends specifying she can only be keen while combing her hair. She wears a gray cloak over a green dress, and her eyes are red from continually weeping. She may be dressed in white with red hair and a ghastly complexion. Some see her as being unnaturally tall, and some see her statue short, between 1 and 4 feet. I have had a different experience, and through some of the stuff I'm going to be sharing with you guys, you'll get to see that some people have similar experiences and somewhat different. But right now I'm going to share a video with you from someone who's in Ireland, and here's my friend Lauren's video now.
Hey, I'm going to talk about banshees, specifically in Irish and Celtic folklore. There's two types. She is a fairy of mourning. So she tells whether someone is going to die or has passed. Depending on the passing is depending on which banshee you see. One is very peaceful, calm. She doesn't wail, but she does cry. She carries a candle, and she's usually quite bright and inviting. And the second would be quite scary. She carries a bowl of blood, covered in blood, and she wails frantically. Those wails were heard a lot. I think we still even hear them quite a lot. And to know that a banshee was truly there is to find a hair comb, which is strange. It's a strange thing to find, you know, randomly. Especially if you find it, like, quite often. It's like, who is out here throwing combs around? Like, so, yeah, she's the type of fairy. She's just here for mourning and to show that someone has passed. Depending on the passing is depending on the banshee that you're gonna encounter, and they're quite scary. A lot of people in Ireland have seen, heard, or found a comb after hearing these wails and cries. They're usually red or dark haired, and they usually have a long white garb, or nightgown, I guess. But yeah, they're a massive thing in the folklore here. We heard so much of it when we were kids. Even our parents, if we heard a scream outside and they were trying to get us outside, like inside to go to bed, they were like, oh, there's a banshee now, and they were like, oh god, run. So yeah, seeing or hearing the banshee was a warning to your family. So most times if anyone had heard those screams or wailing or have seen her, it meant they had to run home and pray for the survival and safety of their family. So yeah, she's a little creepy, a little crazy, but it also foretells whether the passing will be peaceful or not. Yeah, thank you for listening.
A big super shout out and thank you so much to Lauren for actually sending me that video. She is the only one that sent me a video about knowledge or wisdom or experiences with the Banshee, so I really appreciate that. But since I didn't get any other stories submitted from anybody, I did what every other YouTuber did, and I pulled videos off of the good old TikTok. So I'm actually going to bring in my wifey over here, MadWack Jackson, to react to some of these videos with me, okay? What's up? Gotta get our ears in.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? Alright, so here's our first video.
This woman right here caught what sounds like a banshee screaming on video. I'm gonna roll the clip right now.
Just try to not scream. I have friends with me. They understand things in the spirit world. We all want to try to help. I'm going to turn it off now. Okay, let's see what we've got.
Okay, so that was kind of creepy. I could definitely hear the scream. That sounded like a truck to you.
I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I bet you some of our viewers heard that in our background sound.
Yeah,
turn it up
probably.
and tell me you didn't hear something like that.
It's like a truck. Okay, I think I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Okay, then our video will be on the side. But I thought that was kind of creepy. You couldn't hear the scream in real life until she played back the recording. Alright, on to the next.
What do you think?
That was kind of creepy. I think they played it so long at the end because of all the dust that was flying around. Some of them may have been orbs, with a lot of the tails and trailing, but all the commotion in the room too, you will know that always knocks up dust, which creates orbs. But that scream.
I am not going to believe a screen on camera unless there could so easily be someone in the other room. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally right. And that is the thing about video evidence and stuff, is you can only believe this much because you never know who's actually setting it up and stuff. But if that was real, that would scare the shit out of me. And I might be slightly irritated that someone screamed like that to wake me up.
That would be my first reaction, would be to go look around and make sure there's not someone outside.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't even think that. I would think it was someone on drugs or bad, okay?
Drugs are bad, okay? Alright. The next one.
I just love his reaction. Nope. I'm done. I'm out. I don't care.
That was like a, nope, not today, Satan, not today. That one did kind of crack me up. Now, I don't know if that one is actually a Banshee, but the reason why I saved that one was because in the description it said Banshee. But yeah, nope, not today.
If you are Irish or of Irish descent, then you should probably watch this video. So loads of people in the comments of this video about the Banshee, or actually about Keening, were like, but what are the family names that the Banshee is attached to? I need to know, so I'm going to tell you. So historically in the folklore, it is said that the Banshee is attached to the 5 oldest families in Ireland, who are the O'Neills, the O'Briens, the O'Grady's, the O'Connors and the Kavanaghs. However, there are lots of other folklorists and storytellers who say that the Banshee is attached to any family with a Mac or any family with an O. So McCarthy's, McGraths, O'Neills, O'Reillys, O'Sullivans, O'Riordans, O'Flaherty's and so on. But there are even more people that say, hang on, it's basically any old Irish family name. So Murphy, Ryan, Byrne, Walsh, Doyle, Brennan, so on. But here's the thing. If you are Irish or of Irish descent and you have a Banshee attached to your family, I promise you, you are already going to know about it. Secondly, Banshees are attached to families for generations, so she is not just suddenly going to appear within your family. And thirdly, she in herself, she's not dangerous. She doesn't pose any danger to you. People only hear the Banshee when somebody in their family is going to die. Generally, if you yourself hear the Banshee, it means that you are not going to die. Most of the time, people will hear the Banshee, but they won't see her. Sometimes people see her. And she appears in different ways, like sometimes she appears as an old woman, sometimes she appears as a young woman, sometimes she appears as a raven, it all depends. But as an entity, she herself can't do you any harm. And if you're an Irish person who has a Banshee attached to their family, do let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear about it.
So that one I shared because that was pretty informational on what Banshee attachments are, and the certain family names and stuff. Me personally, I'm not too sure why I saw the Banshee because I don't have any of those last names.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the next one.
My friend has a Banshee attached to her family, and I'm going to tell you that story very briefly, just as a little bedtime story, okay? Now keep in mind, this is true. Like, I'm not making any of this story up. This is just something that happens for her and her family. And I'm not naming any names, okay? Because she does not want a life of Banshee-related infamy, okay? Many moons ago, we lived together, and one night she came into my bedroom and was like, did you just hear somebody knocking on the door? And I was like, no, I just didn't hear a thing. And she told me that she was in her bedroom and she heard somebody knock 3 times on her top window, right? And she was like, weird. And she went to open the door, there was nobody at the door. Sometimes friends would knock on her top window if they wanted to be let in, right? So she thought, oh, maybe it was somebody like taking the piss on the way home from the pub, or, you know, whatever. And then she said, I don't think I've ever told you this, but I've got a Banshee attached to my family. Now, you may not know, but the Banshee does not necessarily take the form of a screaming woman. She can also come in the form of 3 knocks, which is where members of a family will hear 3 distinctive knocks on the night or a couple of nights before a member of their family is going to die. So she tells me this and I'm like, okay. And she said, I'm telling you this because I think I just heard the Banshee and I think somebody in my family is going to die. And I was like, well, this is fucking wild, but okay. And you guessed it, the next morning she got a phone call to say that a member of her family had died the night before. And that's not all right. Another time, a member of her family was sick in the home and they were getting near to death. All of the family had gathered for the final hours, etc., etc. Now, my friend's relative was probably the only person in the family who had never heard the knocks, right? But that night, that member of the family went to their bedroom, sat on the bed, and heard the knocks from inside the room, like something was in the walls. It did not come from outside. It did not come from the window. It was inside the room. They slept that night with their head on the kitchen table because they were so afraid to be in their bedroom. And the member of the family that was ill did pass away that night. If you want to hear more about the Banshee, there is so much lore. She is honestly one of my favourite pieces of Irish folklore. You can listen to episode number 3 of my podcast called Real Life Ghost Stories. It's entitled The Banshee, and it was released on the 11th of November 2018. Also, I've no eyebrows on and I'm covered in oil. That's why my face is so greasy. People are always like, "Why are you wet?" when I make these videos. It's because I'm in bed and I'm just skincare. I'm just 90% skincare, 0% eyebrows.
90% skincare, 0% eyebrows. I definitely want to say go follow her, go check out her Spotify and her podcast, because I've been listening to her for years and she tells really good ghost stories and stuff like that. So go check her out, most definitely. What did you think of that one?
It was long.
It was long.
I lost track of what was happening. Short attention span.
I didn't, because I live for this creepy shit. But okay. But yes, go follow her, please. Okay. Next video.
I'm going to say something that's going to upset a lot of people. Banshee don't scream. No, in Scottish mythology explained Banshee. Something that we sometimes forget, because Scottish mythology and Irish mythology are so similar, is that they do differ in some key legends. One of those is the Banshee. Banshee in Scottish mythology is actually 2 different words. Ban, which means wife or woman, and she, which means fairy. The fairy woman, or the fairy wife. I'm going to quickly tell you what banshees do in Irish mythology. In Irish mythology, banshees are connected to a certain family, and they cry and lament and scream when a member of that family is going to die. They can also be seen washing the blood-soiled clothes of the person that's going to die in a river. In Scottish mythology, they're a little bit different. Your Scottish banshee will sing an otherworldly song of unparalleled beauty and lamentation. A song like the songs of Orpheus that will make anyone's heart break who hears it. That is how the Banshee of Scottish mythology communicate that a death is coming. In very localised Isle of Lewis folklore, they're also known to come to the door and knock on it when someone inside the house is due to die, so as they can take their soul to the gods. It's said to be very bad luck to answer the knock of the Banshee, because they might not just take the person that they are there for. So who follows around a family and gets sad when someone dies in Scottish mythology? Well, you're looking at your glass stick for that. Who cleans bloody clothes in the river? You're looking at your Bania for that. Who screams a blood-curdling scream when someone's going to die? You're looking at your Ban Cúnneog for that. But the Banshee, she just likes to sing really sad songs. Tell me if you'd like to know more about the Bania, the Ban Cúnneog, or the glass dig. I'll make another video. If you want to know more about the Banshee, you could go to BBC Sounds and Google Kenny Boyle, Knock of the Banshee, and listen to my Radio 4 radio play. There you go. Scottish mythology explained. The Banshee.
So I think I shared this because I think it has an interesting perspective and kind of really reminds you that folklore from different countries can be different. And that might be why what I experienced here in America was different from what people in Ireland and Scotland have experienced. So maybe there's a slight alternative to the Banshee in every country, which would make sense.
That was educational.
Right, sorry about that. My co-host had to step out, but we're going to continue on with these videos and watching them together. Here is the next one.
Whoa.
So that one was weird, and can I just say that sounded like a freaking dinosaur? It did not sound like anything other than a freaking dinosaur. I mean, it very well could have been like screams and stuff. Either way, I just think it was just something really scary. It could have been an animal. Not 100% sure if I think it's a banshee. But I do remember on the video that it said, "Do you think this could be a banshee?" What do you think? Let me know. Here's the next one. That was spooky, and let's just kind of zoom in on that end part. I do not like the way her face turns. That is really scary and creepy to me. And again, I don't know if this was a real video or not, because you really never really know what's acting anymore. But let's just say that was real. That I would have been running to. And quite honestly, if she didn't respond to me while I was calling at her from a distance, I don't know if I would have actually approached her. Would you? Here's the next one.
There's a place in the Badlands of South Dakota called Watchdog Butte. Animals won't graze near it, and the cowboys avoided the area, for near this hill is said to be the ghostly form of a woman. The first appearance was in 1896, where the Banshee appeared to a group of cowboys sitting around a fire. At first they thought it was a beautiful woman, but her appearance soon changed, pale and haggard. They began to hear the sound of a fiddle playing somewhere behind them, and they asked the woman what she wanted. With a deafening scream, she vanished, but the fiddle remained, growing louder through the night. Eventually, the three cowboys fell asleep, and when they woke, they noticed that one of them was missing. They followed his tracks to the edge of a cliff, and at the bottom were the bleached bones of a skeleton, and in its hands were a fiddle. The remaining two took off, not wanting to be the next victim of the Banshee of the Badlands. You could experience the Banshee for yourself, because it's reported that her screams still echo around the hill today.
And see, that just goes to show you, like, my whole idea on her being different in different countries. This one was here in the United States, and she did things slightly different, but they still know her as the Banshee. It's very interesting. This is the next one.
Sure, the Banshee used to follow death, like, you know. Supposed to be always. My sister now up next door, Fogarty's lived next door to her, and they always said that the Banshee followed different families. You know, the Fogarty, the Banshee. But and they really believed it. Yeah. And the night before a person died, they heard the Banshee. But do you remember Dad telling us about he was cycling up and down, and as he come by Crosstown Cemetery, something come across the road, straight across the road, and straight in the cemetery gates, through the wheels of the bike, like, just darted out and through. And he jumped off the bike, but he didn't know what had happened. He said the hair stood on his head, like, but he come out to Castlebridge, and when he got out, wasn't it his sister? It was only after dying. McNeville's wife, was that? McNeville's wife, yeah. By the time he got home to Castlebridge, she was after dying. And that had happened coming by Crosstown Cemetery.
That one was interesting. That was just another one of those stories about being aware that the Banshee will alert you of a family member's passing. Can I just say I really love the accents? Okay, next.
See, when I was a boy and we would be walking home from school, near there was a graveyard, and sometimes when we'd be walking by, we'd hear the wailing of the Banshee, and we'd run in the other direction. So if you ever hear a woman crying in the graveyard, run away. It's the Banshee. Run away. Okay, Grandpa.
I love that at the end. Okay, Grandpa. Is it a known thing to be able to still hear the Banshee and still see combs and stuff like that and nobody pass in your family? I'm very curious about that. Like if you hear a Banshee and you hear it wailing and you run away, does that mean you avoid your family member's death? Or does that mean you just avoid her taking you with them? I'm curious. Here's the next one.
Do you think this video is real or a hoax?
Hearing a scream in the middle of the woods, especially in the middle of the night, we think we're out there all alone. It clearly sounded like a woman. It clearly sounded like it was outside. That's just fucking horrifying.
Yeah, that was... Oh, that was whoa. It's getting closer. Yeah, kill the light for a second. Oh, okay. No, let's go. What the fuck is that?
After the third or fourth scream we heard, we decided to go lights out because we were freaked. We thought whatever it was could see us because it felt like it was getting closer, like it was pursuing us almost. And then the final scream before we decided to leave sounded like it was right outside.
Kill the light for a second. Okay. No, let's go. What the fuck is that? Oh, fuck. God damn. Oh, it's fucking closer. That shit sounds like it's right fucking behind us.
I almost dropped all the equipment trying to get out.
If that one is real, that is absolutely terrifying. And I don't know if it's a Banshee because, like, I guess you could go to these woodland areas where it's been known for the Banshees to be seen, but if you're experiencing the Banshee, and it's screaming like that and you're seeking it out, is it really the Banshee? Because the Banshee to me comes and it tells you and it warns you of impending death. But that sound, that cry, that scream that entity was making in this last video was like, you could tell it was from their chest. Like it was what I have learned keening means. It's a mourn, a sound so deep within your chest, it comes out like that. And to me, that's what I think a keen would sound like. Now, if it's real, absolutely terrifying. Is it a Banshee? I personally don't think so. Well, that is all the videos that I have to react to share with you guys off of TikTok. So thank you so much for watching. Now it's time for my story. So when I experienced the Banshee, I was probably, I want to say 10 to 12. It was a really long time ago. I was sleeping and I woke up one night in the middle of the night and I had sleep paralysis. I could not move and I could not talk. All I could do was lay there in my bed with my eyes open. And from where I was laying in my bed, my bedroom door was open and I could see out through my door, out the hallway and into the kitchen, kind of like it was a weird like catty-corny area, but I could see it, okay? And I'm laying there and I could see this glowing apparition of a woman. And I saw like reddish, brownish hair. It was really curly. And I could see her come out of the kitchen. And then I could hear her go into the living room. And to me, it sounded like a bunch of dishes just clinking around together. And I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I was hearing all of this happening in the living room. And I couldn't do anything. I was trying so hard to get the energy and the courage to scream for my mom. And And it finally happened. I finally got that out, and I screamed at the top of my lungs for my mom. And it immediately sounded like the dishes dropped. You know, like the second I made that sound, that spirit knew that I was awake and I knew it was there. And it just dropped everything. So my mom and my stepdad finally come, and they run into my room and they're like, what's going on? What's going on? And I tell my mom and I tell my stepdad what I saw and what happened. And my stepdad had this look of fear on his face, like he had just seen a ghost when I had just seen the ghost. Well, sadly enough, his dad, my stepdad's dad, passed away. When I tell the story, I say a week later, just because that's what's always felt right to me. But if I really think about it, I don't know how much time went by. It could have been the next day. It could have been a week. It could have been within that week. I don't remember the timeline exactly, but his dad did pass away after that. And I had learned that I had experienced the Banshee. Now, when I asked my stepdad a couple years later, like, why did you have that look on your face when I told you? Why were you so scared? Why did it look like you had seen a ghost? Like, tell me about that. And he looked at me all serious and he said, the reason why I was so scared that night was because I was dreaming about it. I had a dream that I was watching you, froze, watching the spirit. And that was scary. We were both experiencing it. He was dreaming that he was watching it happen as it was happening. And growing up and being told what a Banshee is, what I have been told a Banshee is it's a woman that comes and warns you of death. And she comes in 3 different forms: screaming, crying, or she's disruptive. And I had got to experience the disruptive version of her. So that was my experience with a Banshee. I don't know why she would have come to see me specifically, and it kind of goes through all the exploring and research that I've done on all of this. I've learned a lot more about what a Banshee is in different cultures and stuff, and I don't know if my stepdad and his family had Irish descent. I'm not 100% sure if I do. If I do, it's just a very, very tiny bit. My last name is not connected to any of those names that is related to the Banshee. But that could just be in the Irish folklore as well, because looking back at the Scottish video that we watched, he didn't mention anything about that. So it could be different in different cultures. But either way, she is definitely a woman who comes and warns you of death. So if you ever experience a Banshee, just know that death is coming and to prepare yourself for the heartbreak. That is all I have for this episode. I have a couple more episodes planned out, but that is it. So if you want to be on the show or you want to submit some stories to me, I would love it so much. So get those sent to me. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that good fun jazz. If you made it to this point in the video, will you please drop me a ghost emoji in the comments? I would appreciate that so much. Alright guys, till next time, keep it creepy. Bye!